blame it all on my roots. This podcast cahoots. I don't even know. Hey, man.
Now we're never going to break this record.
Yeah,
Off the rails in the first second.
Never. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Fish Lyfe Podcast. The Fish Lyfe Podcast, the best fishing podcast ever created. The one so nice we had to do it twice.
The podcast so nice we had to start it twice. That's right.
To my left, your right. Billy Lawson, your Lake Fork guide. I'm Chris Blackman, and I came here to party.
Is that right?
Come on.
Well, you just going right on the end of the night, not even playing around.
I done got rid of some congestion. I feel good.
Yeah,
I've been
cleared up.
This is the first time I've been able to breathe naturally through my nose in like probably
I gotta
2
tell
months.
And you know this about me, and it's a bad trait for a fisherman, but a guy that's out there all the time like I am, especially. But I have pretty bad spring allergies, and I kind of live with sinus congestion, just kind of part of my life.
Dude.
Like I always have some junk up in there. Back when I was in the Marine Corps, yes, once upon a time I was not so fat. I used to be in the Marine Corps, for those of you who didn't know that. I used to be in the Marine Corps, and we would have to do gas chamber qualifications every year. And you go in this gas chamber, you had to stay there, take the mask off, do some jumping jacks, prove that you could, while you were being gassed, that you could put the mask on, clear the mask, and go back to breathing while exerting physical effort.
Basically, adapt and overcome.
Basically, what happens is you get there, you get a bunch of gas up in your nose, and they make you take it off and do some jumping jacks and stuff, whatever, to get some gas in your system, to get it up in your nose, in your throat, in your lungs, so you can feel what that feels like without panicking. That's the whole point. You can understand how to deal with that without panicking, because it hurts. It's if you don't know what it is, it's a scary thing to have pain in your chest and your throat and all that.
Right.
Anyways, whole point of this long story, whole point of this long story is to tell you that some of the best I've ever felt in my life was right after we come out of the gas chamber, because you would come out of the gas chamber
cleared,
and things would just be pouring out of your nose and your throat, and you just be, and then once you got it all off you,
man, you felt great.
Oh God, it was you could just get more oxygen, you could breathe, and you just felt amazing.
It's like eating a really hot chip.
I can tell you, Lord, I can tell you, there's been many a times during spring fishing that I wish I had a trip to the gas chamber coming up.
I guarantee you.
Nothing clears your drainage, your sinuses like gas chamber.
For the last couple of weeks, I felt like I was eating spoonfuls of pollen every morning, and I finally got it under control. Yeah,
it's been thick.
It's on everything.
Well, we totally greened up now, and that's when it always happens. It's it's that time of year. We talk about it. The fishing's amazing. The fishing is the fishing is about as good as it's going to get right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we have some days that are better than others. Yeah, last week wasn't as good as the week before for big fish. But dude, it's like every single day we're catching quality bass, like 4 or 5 plus pound fish every single day. Never bored. You either look. Sometimes we don't catch the numbers that some other guys do because we look at them on beds a lot, and sometimes we can get a little bogged down doing that. But it's just an unbelievable time to be a fisherman. It does come with, though, and you can tell, like, the whole world is gone. Like, I looked up this week in the middle of the week, and I was like, man, it seemed like just yesterday all these trees were brown.
Yep.
No leaves. And now everything's just full green, which is a surefire sign that we're in the middle, the peak of the spawn. The shad spawn will be coming up here pretty soon.
Yep.
We're in the meat of it, dude. It's time to get out and get fishing right now.
That's right. Man, you know what I'm excited about this time of year? Freaking swim jig.
Swim jig. Especially with all the rain we've had, that's a good bait. A frog and a swim jig are two of the best baits you can throw when you've had springtime rain. High water conditions or something.
And luckily for us, it's been kind of a warm rain too, except for this last one, which really wasn't as bad.
The rain wasn't really that warm, that cold, but we had a cold front behind it. It was cold this morning. But, this was the coldest it's going to get was this morning, and the water temps were like 62, 63, which is cold for April.
Right.
But it's not unmanageable. It's not untenable.
It's not going to stop the fish from doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to pull them off beds, and you can still get some fish to bite.
That's right.
In that. We pulled it this morning. We had 2 bites in 5 minutes. They're biting a little bit in the morning. So it's man, it's good. It's real good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can kind of go around and do what you want to do and catch some fish. Like, now we're getting to that really magical time of year that we kept talking about during March. We were like, okay, when we get our first set of post-spawn fish, then we got some more pre-spawn that are still coming. We got some on beds. You can kind of go do whatever you want because you can go to the back of pockets, catch spawning fish. You can go out on the main lake, on the staging areas, and catch those post-spawn and those pre-spawn fish when they both collide. That's when that gets really, really, really good. that's all happening right now. Like, you can go to the main lake and fish the structure on the staging areas, and there's pre and post spawn colliding. You can do that. You can go to the back of the pocket, throw a frog, go flip, go throw your swim jig, kind of buzz around, especially if you got some wind. They're starting to bite a chatterbait a little bit again. They're biting a jerkbait a little bit. Like, the weightless plastics, or that bite is awesome.
It's time.
Like, you can look at them every day. We're to that time of year where you don't have to wait on the next wave.
Right, they're here.
Like, you could just, there's fish trickling in and out every day. And then when the moon cycles come, that's just more fish. That's just a bigger wave. But like, you can go sight fish every day right now. There's enough fish moving in and out every day and getting on beds and leaving beds. And there'll be some fry garden going on here. Like, in the next few days, they'll start garden fry. Some of them will. Man, it's
Dude, I foresee that frog bite and that swim jig bite being really, really good come about Wednesday.
If we just get that water temp to climb a little bit where they'll actually commit. Like, right now what's going on with the frog is you're getting a lot of them just kind of swirl on it.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of fish come up on a frog and not eat it. Now, some of them are eating it, but most of the frog action, you get the fish are just like, I feel like if we just get that water temp up to that 70-degree mark, they'll start chasing that swim jig down a little bit out of them bushes, and they'll start coming up and committing and eating that frog a little better. And yeah, dude, as much water as we've had in all the lakes this year, that frog bite is going to be
out of control.
Boy, it's going to, dude, come May, that May frog bite's going to be the deal. But right now, I ain't worried about May, because right now there's a whole lot of spawning and staging fish to be caught.
Right. I was just looking at the weather on the way up here, and you've got a warming trend leading up to Wednesday, and I think the high is 86 Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think that, and you got a little cold front behind it, nothing crazy, but
yeah.
You got a little
and for the followers of the YouTube channel, we did real big in-depth instructional on kind of how to make your decision and the 2 different ways you can go about catching fish last Wednesday on our Guides Network. Kind of the return of the Guides. It had actually been quite a while since we've done a Guides Network episode on this channel, which was kind of our bread and butter in the beginning.
Right.
Kind of gotten away from that a little bit lately. A little bit of writer's block on trying to come up with something to talk about. But we did something we never did before. We kind of talked about the 2-way go, where you can kind of do it this way or do it that way. Really went in depth on the process, the thought process, and the science behind why you should do which one or how to make your decisions. And hopefully that helps some of you. And to follow that up, this week we got double Guides Network episodes this week. So you guys are hearing the podcast. We're actually airing the podcast a day earlier on Monday. What we're going to do is Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to have Guides Network episodes both days, Tuesday and Wednesday. First day is going to be on fishing the shallow points, yes, the shell beds. We're going to talk about the myths of shell beds. We're going to talk about the facts of shell beds and how to not overcomplicate it, and how anybody can go capitalize on that bite if you just have a better understanding of what's actually really taking place there. We're going to talk about all that stuff in depth. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a super in-depth sight fishing. Now, we just aired a sight fishing seminar where me and Ronnie talked about it, but I'm going to get down on the camera, show you the technique, show you the different shakes, show you everything. I'm going all the way in depth on sight fishing. And if I had to say there was one technique that is my strong suit, it's sight. If I'm better than most at one thing, it's sight fishing. I'm not a guy that, like, I've never accused myself of being the greatest fisherman on Lake Fork or the greatest fisherman of any lake or area or tournament trail or nothing like that. I'm not the best. I never have said that I was. But you sign me up for a tournament when there's some dead fish, I got a pretty good chance.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always kind of been that way. So that's my deal. And I'm going as far in depth as I've ever gone on sight fishing on Wednesday. So not only do we give you the how to make your decision on what maybe works best for you or when to fish which one if you want to do both last week, now we're going to follow that up with the super in-depth. So just kind of goes to speak, man, we're going to stay true to our word. Like, my deal is I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to give back to you guys, because I'm so grateful for the opportunities that have been afforded me through this channel that we've been able to build, through this platform, through the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, now TikTok. We got like 13,000 followers on TikTok, dude. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting on up there. I know that's nothing in TikTok world, but for a dude from Lake Fork that catches bass, that's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, dude. So
we got 13,000 followers. Like, all these platforms, all these followers, all you guys that listen and consume what we do and tell your friends and help us grow, I feel so indebted to each of you. And my best way that I know to give back is for me to give you as much help, as much knowledge as I can. Not that I know the most about all these topics, but whatever I do know, I'm going to give you. And when I sat down to do these 3 Guides Network episodes, I really, really tried to dig in and get all the details, all the stuff that people normally don't tell you.
Right.
The normal pro instructional videos, there's a lot of stuff that gets left unsaid that are little details. I tried to give you all these details in these videos these last couple weeks.
One goal of mine: catch more and bigger fish. Help your fellow man.
That's it, baby. Love your fellow man. Catch more and bigger fish. That's what we're gonna do.
Dang right.
So hopefully that works for y'all, man. I know we got in fact, I better text our guy and let me know we're about to call. Let me know. Let him know we're about to call him because we've got a special guest tonight, Chris.
Oh, we sure do.
Well, don't just sit there. Who's it going to tell them? Tell the folks who it's going to be.
It's going to be old Z to the dub.
Z to the dub.
Our crazy Cajun comrade.
That sucker. Did you see him down there? I've seen a picture of him holding up a dang alligator.
I saw that, him and Dylan.
Him and his son. I heard he caught that alligator on a frog.
Frogington.
Did you talk to him?
No, I saw it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. He said, this gator wanted DW's frog.
Yeah, Z-Dub went on a little adventure. We're actually going to talk about that. And, to be honest with you, when we get Zach Watts on the phone, there's
no telling.
So this is the podcast that we don't know what direction it's going.
This is where you throw your GPS out the window and just drive.
Yeah.
I'm
just going to drive.
You don't know what destination we'll end up to, but it won't be any bars or restaurants, I assure you.
Oh, my goodness. You're worthless.
Dude, I'm full of spunk today, boy.
Did you see what it said? He responded with a text that we cannot repeat.
Talk to me, old hand.
What up?
Z to the dub.
What's up, bro?
Oh, alligator wrangler, father of alligator wrangler himself.
I'm going to call you Alligator King from now on.
Man, let me tell you something, boy. That little sucker was pissed off when he hit the deck of that boat.
I bet he was. Was he death rolling?
Here's the deal.
Hey, look, I thought on the Fish Lyfe spots you're just supposed to catch big old bass, not gators.
Here's the deal. That alligator probably doesn't realize how thankful he should be that he didn't end up filleted up.
Ooh, son, listen. Hey, I sent that picture to a bunch of my hands over in the boot, and they were like, "Did you keep him? You gonna fry him up? You gonna do this?" I'm like, "Man, look, that's a $25,000 fine over here in Texas."
Yeah, we out of season. I ain't got no tags. Like, nah,
that's
bro.
Right.
I'm out. Well, listen, we haven't told anybody where you went, or we just told them you went on an adventure and you and Dylan wrangled an alligator. So tell us about what's been going on in the world of Z-Dub. Besides punching me in the nutsack on this week's video, what's been going on in the world of Z-Dub over the last week?
Man, let me tell you something. I'm about so sick of this damn quarantine and stuff. Me and old D-Dub and the old nephew, Dinkmaster 5000, we loaded up, and for the first time ever, we went to Big Sam Rayburn. I had never seen that body of water before, neither had Dylan or Keaton. And we decided to go over there and see what it was all about.
Is the hype for real?
Let me tell you something. Y'all all know ZW is a huge fan of the bend over there that borders Louisiana and Texas. But let me tell you something. A couple more trips over to Sam Rayburn, and I may change my allegiances.
You're going to forget all about it. Here's what I want to know. And so for some of the listeners of the podcast that may or may not know who Dinkmaster 5000 is, Dinkmaster 5000 is Zach's beloved nephew. We all love him. Basically, this is all family. Me, Chris, Zach, we're all big family. Like, we're as close as non-blood related people can be. And so Zach's family is my family, is Chris's family, and that's how it goes. But Zach's beloved nephew, our beloved little step cousin, redheaded stepchild we don't want to claim, who is legitimately redheaded and ugly.
Yeah, he's ugly, boy. God damn.
We bring him on. Zach brings him out when he's filming a episode for what we call our Fish Lyfe Outdoors playlist, where Zach goes out to different lakes and uses our Fish Lyfe app to help him catch fish, because Zach's just a weekend angler, like the majority of the people that probably listen to the channel. Just work all week, go fishing one day a week. That's what ZW does, and not even every weekend, just whenever you can get out. Well, he brings Keaton, his nephew, along, and Keaton has yet to catch a fish over 2 pounds on camera, ever. And I don't know that he's caught one much over that off camera.
Man, I don't know, but hey, let me tell you something.
So what I want to know before you go on, before you go on, what I want to know is, when y'all went to Sam Rayburn, did Keaton catch anything over 2 pounds on camera?
Man, that's just what I was going to say. I don't think his luck changed much going with us just a leader. I don't think he did.
Oh man, and you and Dylan both caught good quality fish, but Dinkmaster 5000 is just living up to that name.
Well, I mean, listen, you can't hardly fault the old boy, because I mean, we throw him we throw him in the back of the boat. So he's got two pretty good sticks making hammer casts with them wacky worms right at the base of cypress trees with about a 10-foot overhang on limbs. And he's just fishing the outside where there ain't no fish. So, he's kind of at a disadvantage already.
Hey, there's been, hold on, time out. There's been a million times where I've seen somebody fan casting a whack out of the back of the boat and catch a freaking giant.
So what I was about to say is, it seems like to me maybe he gets fewer bites, but if he's fan casting on the outside, when he gets a bite, most people would think that would be where the big bite would come from, but not with Dink Master 5000.
No, absolutely not. You know how Bang's got that garlic spray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they actually come out with a new spray last year called Dink Spray, and I actually rewrapped the garlic wrapper around it and gave that to Keaton. That's what he sprays on all his baits.
Dude, I was so bought in. Oh my goodness.
I'm choking on my crown.
Choking on my crown. That's great. So you guys ventured down there to Sam Rayburn. Never been there before. You get in the boat, and of course, you use the Fish Lyfe app. And for those that don't know, the Fish Lyfe app, and it's spelled Lyfe. The life is spelled with a Y.
Why is that, Billy?
I don't know. Why is that, Z-Dub?
I'm sorry.
We said the Fish Lyfe app, the life is spelled with a Y. Why is that?
Because it's the best damn fishing app out there. That's why.
So the Fish Lyfe app is an app. We have different packages. We have Sam Rayburn on there. We have Toledo Bend. We have Lake Fork. And like I do the spots on Lake Fork. And then we have a guy down on Sam and a guy on Toledo and a guy on all these. We have Louisville and Grapevine and Texoma and all these lakes. And we have individual guys that we work with that are like some of the best anglers on that particular body of water that are willing to work with us, that we trust. And we actually update the spots constantly. There's constant current information always being updated. Most of you probably know about that are listening to this. But for those that don't, check out the Fish Lyfe app. It's in the Google Play Store. It's in the App Store for iPhones. There's also a web app that works on all device types, iPhones included, at www.fishlife.net. It's a little bit more pricey than your normal fishing app subscription, but here's the deal. It's lake by lake, and the information is very specific, and it's detailed, and it's 100 times better than anything you're going to find on any other app out there when you're talking about our premium packages on the Fish Lyfe app. So, there, now that we got that shameless plug out of the way, Zach goes down there. Zach uses the Fish Lyfe app.
Let me go ahead and interrupt you and throw another plug in there because I don't think you mentioned it. It's updated on the reg.
Yeah, always being updated. Minimum of once a month. Sometimes we do it more than that, like when water conditions change, flooding lakes, whatever happens, we update it sometimes in the middle of the month. I know we work, like you helped me on the back end update the Lake Fork one, and we updated that thing a couple times in the month of March just because conditions kept changing.
That's right.
So yeah, always updated. It's always current information on there. But Zach goes down there, opens up his Fish Lyfe app, never been to Sam Rayburn, gets out of Fish Lyfe app, goes to a spot, tried to go to one spot and got blown off. And we'll let you talk about the wind story in a minute. Goes to another spot that's marked on the app that he wasn't planning on fishing, pulls in there, and tell us how it went down, Z.
And you want me to start from the very beginning?
Oh yeah, start from the jump and talk about when you left the ramp and things just kind of
let me tell you something. So we go down there and we stay at the Rayburn Inn, which is about a half a mile from the first launch that I could find on the map. And it's a public ramp, and it's on the far south end, on the southeast side of the dam.
It's down there. For those that know Rayburn, it's down there. I think it's called Johnson County Park or Johnson Park. It's where all the big tournaments go out of. It's that public ramp down there.
Yeah, no, it's a huge. It's like 5 different lanes where people can back boats in. 2 big, huge parking lots. It's super nice ramp. But anyway, we get there first thing that morning. Well, we check our weather app, and it says wind, anywhere from 2 to 5 miles an hour out of the northwest all day. Well, I didn't realize it. I mean, I realized it that the lake, the main part of Rayburn faces to the northwest. But I'm thinking, hey, 2 to 5 miles an hour, man, it may be a little choppy there at the beginning, but once we get where we need to go, it's going to be fine. Man, we come out of that ramp, and you have to circle an island to get out to the boat road. And we circled that island, and we had 3 and 4 foot rollers coming in at us. And hey, let me tell you something. The prop come out of the water 3 or 4 times, and I finally had to shut it down. When I look over, and and see old Dinkmaster 5000 as white as a sheet. His knuckles are blood red from holding on to anything he can, just scared to death. So I actually turned around and went back, and we put the boat on the trailer, started looking at the map, and I found a ramp over St. Augustine Park or something like that. It took us about 30 minutes to drive around there.
Now, you found a ramp that had a Fish Life spot close to it, right?
Oh, no, that's 100%. Once I found that ramp, I looked, and there's 3 or 4 Fish Life spots, like right across the pocket, and maybe one cove south, one cove right. Plenty of places for us to go fish and check things out. We pulled up in a pocket that actually had a Fish Life spot kind of out toward the point that told us to start there and move in, hitting the banks. You know, it gave us descriptions about a creek channel swing in there with a hydrilla bed next to it. And then there was one toward the back of the pocket that talked about a channel swing going back into the main feeder creek, and where there was some good grass and hydrilla around it as well. And we pulled up in that pocket, and we proceeded to lay the smack down. I'm talking about from 9:30 in the morning till we were tired of catching them at 4 o'clock. We never went 15 or 20 minutes without somebody setting the hook. I ain't kidding you. It was one of the best fishing days I've ever had in my life. We caught 60 plus fish in that time, and now granted there was plenty of dinks in there, but man, we had some solid 3.5s, 4s, 5s. ODW won the day with a 6. So, and then we caught the alligator. So,
and you caught an alligator on a frog.
On a popping frog. You know, we had an overcast, drizzly rain. It would overcast with off and on drizzly rain all day. So, you know, it wasn't just an early morning frog bite, man. You had the potential to catch them all day on a frog. So we had one tied on regardless, and you know, about once every hour and a half, somebody'd be slinging a frog out there. I had a couple of blow-ups on a frog, but you know, the waypoint descriptions, they also listed the best baits that our guy down there has been seeing the best results from these particular baits. You know, and they were wacky worms, flukes, I think maybe a chatterbait and a slim jig. Well, the wind, like where we were, I mean, it was almost a flat calm all day because we had done gotten out of the wind. So it kind of took the chatterbait out of play for us, at least in my mind. That took the chatterbait out of play. And plus, you know how old Z-Dub feels about the whack. I'll take it out the box from time to time.
Yeah, if they would have just said any lure with the letter W in it, you'd have just taken that to mean throw nothing but wacky worms.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, that's kind of the way I read into it. I might have to go back and check that and see if it really does say wacky.
You could be like, throw wide wobbling crankbait. Z never got past W.
No.
He just
never got past the W.
I mean, it'd be like me.
Man, we tied on wacky worms, a couple of flukes. I think DW caught a few on them clouts. He was handing out the clout virus down there on Rayburn, but for the most part, like I said, wacky worms, flukes. I mean, the app was on point. You know, and we didn't just go. Well, I mean, we went straight to the waypoint. That's where we started. Was catching fish, developed a pattern. But the cool thing about that is we saw those first couple of waypoints. Fished them, had success, but we was also able to duplicate that at other areas that in those same pockets that were exactly like some of the waypoints that were on the Fish Lyfe app. So, man, it's just, you know, we laid the smack down like those EW ain't never done.
Well, that's the beauty of that app, and the whole point of it is you go to a body of water that you don't get to fish all the time. Even if you're a weekend guy, you only get to go there once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever it is. You go out there, you open up the app, it's always going to be updated. It's always going to be current info. You see what it says. You go check out a spot. You get a little pattern going. And now you've just, instead of spending half your day or 3/4 of your day trying to figure out a bite, it just gets you started on the right foot. It puts you in an area that you know has fish. It gives you ideas of how to catch those fish. And it gives you just such a good chance of being able to step right into a successful pattern that'll at least get you some bites. And who knows, sometimes we've had many double-digit fish get caught by people using the app. And it just cuts that learning curve and makes sure that you don't go out there and waste your time. When I started developing this app, when I sat down and wanted to do this app, my whole deal was back when I was a guy that only got to fish once a week. I would have given anything to have this kind. Basically, all it is a super updated fishing report with waypoints.
That's right.
Is what it basically is. And I would have given anything for somebody to just give me a good quality starting point every weekend when I was going out there having to figure it out on my own. Before I even knew about Facebook. Facebook group pages didn't exist. You know, before I knew about any type of fishing social media like forums, I didn't know about any of that back then. I was just trying to figure out a bite. And I didn't, other than watching Hank Parker, I didn't have a clue. And I would have given anything to have something like this. And that was my whole thought process when we were developing this app was that. And that's what it's designed for. The guy that's going out there once a week, man, it's going to put him where he's got a great opportunity to start off catching fish and make a really productive, fun, enjoyable day and just catch more fish.
Dude, I'm just like you, man. I leaned heavily on Jimmy Houston. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I watched every TV show I could.
One.
All week I'd DVR all the TV shows and get all the notes, take my cliff notes out.
Yep.
And then when it came time to go fishing, I'd try some of their techniques or tactics, and a lot of times it didn't work. Most of the time it didn't, but every once in a while it would.
And you can catch a gator on it.
And you can catch gators.
Hey, that gator's
Man,
lucky.
listen, our plan going down there was naturally, for some of the followers or listeners who follow the channel, they've seen me go out and film to some of these Fish Lyfe lakes, and I've pretty much been to all of them. I kind of know what to expect. Keep in mind, I have never even seen Sam Rayburn. I've never driven past it. I've never went over there near it just to check out a bait store. I've never even been in the area. My plan was to go down there, and I was hoping to get 8 or 10 decent fish on video. And I went down there, and we caught freaking 60.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And listen, here's. I was talking to a subscriber a week or two ago. I want to say he was out around Lake Fork somewhere, and he had the perfect analogy, and I'd never heard it before, but I want to share it with you right now, B-Law. He said, "Listen, I'm from Indiana or Illinois. I can't remember where he was from. He goes, man, we're coming down here. We've heard all this about Lake Fork. We watch Billy's channel, But even coming down here, we wanted to at least be able to somewhat develop a pattern to, try to have some success out here on Fork because it's such a tough lake to fish." And he said, so we subscribed to the Fish Lyfe app and had some success. And he said, think about this. B-Law, I'm going to ask you and Steve like this question. Have either of you guys fished Okeechobee in Florida?
No.
Nope.
Okay, here you go. Let's say you and C Black go down to Lake Okeechobee and y'all gonna try to film and do some community package stuff. You walk into the bait store first thing that morning, get your coffee, Monster, a couple of Slim Jims, whatever you need. You see 2 or 3 guys sitting there eating breakfast, and one of them says, "You know what? For $20, I'll give you 4 or 5 of real good spots that are producing fish right now." What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna hand him 20 and tip him another 20.
I'm about to say, you gonna pay that man $20 just to kind of help you get over that hump, so you can go out there and have a chance at success. That's the thing about the Fish Lyfe app, man. You are getting that kind of information, okay, for that same $20, but you're getting 20 spots that are updated on the reg.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the cool thing about it is you're never going to pay more than $1 a spot.
That's it. That's our promise to the customer. We never charge more than $1 a spot.
That's just awesome to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is awesome. It is awesome. The Fish Lyfe app is awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to see the video you're going to put together on that one. You guys stay tuned to the Your Lake Fork Guide YouTube channel. That will be airing there here in the next couple weeks. We've got some other videos coming up here in the next couple weeks that'll be good as well. So now, one thing I do want to touch on with you is you caught me off guard the other day. I know I stole your fish, and that was kind of dirty of me. You broke off on a bedfish, and then I just flipped in there, one flip, caught him, and kind of boat flipped into you and all that, And I understand a little bit of jealousy or little bit of
Let me tell you
rage.
what was going through my mind at that point.
In
Okay?
front-
Because I think you're looking for an explanation, so I'm going to give it to you right here. All right? I'm sitting there, I'm recon. B-Law flips in there, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, that's my pod, that's my brother. But, man, that SOB, look at him. He finna catch my fish, and no sooner did you set the hook, I thought to myself, what would B-Law do if the role were reversed? And I couldn't help myself.
So for those that didn't see the video, he actually punched me in the groin, I guess you could say.
That's
but like
the correct term.
the area between the two groins, the nether
I went
regions.
shopping at the NAD store.
Dude, he slapped me pretty darn hard in the undercarriage. Now, the beautiful part about that is, if I'm being honest, it made for good video content. And it's all for you, fans.
Yeah.
And, but I will tell you this. The good thing is now I owe you one. And I'm not going to tell you when or how, obviously. It'll probably be a while before Zach will get back in my boat because he probably knows the next time those cameras are rolling, he's got something coming.
About this moment, when I get back in your boat.
Do what?
I said, you will have long forgotten about this by the next time I get in your boat.
I figured that might be your plan. You're going to delay. I'm like an elephant, Z-Dub.
We'll see you in 6 years, boys.
I'm like an elephant. I will never forget the
I just
time.
heard from Governor Abbott, and he has asked ZW to actually self-quarantine in his home for the next 6 months.
It's okay. I can remember past 6 months. It's all right. Yeah, it's coming, bro. It is coming.
People don't forget.
Yeah, people don't forget, especially with this video evidence.
Just a little brotherly tap to remind you that I was there, and I am a human with feelings. Okay.
So did you Judy chop him? Did you slap him? Did you punch him?
When
What
you
was
went
it?
after my fish,
Punched
cut
me.
You might as well have went after Mama T-Dub, because that cut me deep when you went after my bedfish. You know how we are about bedfish.
Well, and to be honest, I'd kind of been hoarding them that morning. Like I wasn't giving you too many shots at them.
So what?
I was kind of getting at, I was angry at them that morning for some reason. I was trying to catch all of them.
So this
I'll
is
tell
this
you what
is
it
adding
was. It was the
insult to
first time
injury.
you could actually see a fish all year.
Yeah, I was wound up. There wasn't no doubt. I was trying to catch every one that I could. Well, man, I'll tell you what. I appreciate you coming on and telling us the Sam Rayburn story. I don't appreciate the last thing we talked about, but we'll figure out some penance for that at some point. Maybe 6 months, like you said, maybe a year down the road. I don't know. At some point, though, you need to watch every video. If Zach's in there, you need to really watch it because something's coming for him. He don't know what yet. In case you forgot, Zach, if you didn't remember watching old Ronnie Kelly deciding to take me on in a prank war last year, I'm pretty good at this type of stuff. No comment. It's nothing.
It's all fun and games. So you both out in the middle of the lake on Spotlight.
It's going through my mind right now what could possibly be coming, so I need to prepare for 27 different things here.
Yeah, you need to prepare for a lot. It's on its way. It's headed for you. I don't know when, but it's coming. Hey, buddy. Hey, man. Thanks for calling in.
I'll be like Henry Hill, living my life, looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, you're gonna be like Henry Hill. That's right. Hey, brother. I appreciate you calling in tonight, man. We're gonna holler at you later and let you go, man. I appreciate it.
Man, y'all have a good one.
You too.
All right,
brother.
later, bud.
See.
I'll tell you what, dude. That gator's lucky it didn't get into Troy Landry's boat. Shoot him.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like he's saying all that stuff because we're like recording this. Mm-hmm. Like I'm real surprised that gator didn't get cut up.
Oh, me too.
Like that type of stuff just normally don't matter with them South Louisiana boys. And Z-Dub's really not. I mean, not to throw Z-Dub under any bus, but I'm just saying it's kind of a South Louisiana culture. Like the whole game laws just don't really normally
It's 1,000%.
get considered.
We'll call it out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
a good term.
I'm really surprised that gator didn't get chopped up.
I mean, to be honest with you, if I caught me and you tried to catch a gator one year on the channel, remember that?
I do remember trying
If
to
that would have gotten the
gator.
boat, I probably would have been like, "Hey, Billy, drop me off here."
I mean, I'm not going to admit to anything.
Allegedly, that's what happened.
Not today, Isis. Not today. I'm not admitting to any of this. But I do love to eat some gator tail. I will
Yes,
say
sir.
that. I
Yes, sir.
love some fried gator tail, son.
So, anyways, let's. When we were talking to Jacob Wheeler
Yeah.
last week,
Speaking of, let me hear for one second. We were supposed to have a different guest tonight.
That's
Actually,
right.
Zach was a filling guest. We're actually supposed to be talking to Mark Daniels Jr., who As long as the Lord's willing, creek don't rise, we don't get our schedules mixed up. He actually had to do Ike Live tonight, and I had a guide trip to run today, so we couldn't do it earlier. He was going to do it earlier with us, but I couldn't do earlier.
Right.
So next week's podcast, we should have a special guest, Mark Daniels Jr.
Mark Methylate Trickworm Daniels Jr.
Methylate Daniels Jr. will be coming up. I can't wait to tell him that's his new name around here. His name is no longer Mark.
It's going to make me so
Methylate
happy.
Daniels Jr.
It's going to make me so happy when it transitions into his pro tournament series name.
Like if somebody on the MLF coverage calls him Methylate Daniels Jr. What if Kenny, JT Kenny, what if JT Kenny calls him Methylate on a broadcast? Dude, I'll be rolling.
What's the word I'm looking for? We made it.
We made it. We really are the best fishing podcast.
That's right. We have to drop a dime to Wheeler and get him to start throwing that around.
Dude, I'm gonna text. Actually, I'll text him that tonight as soon as we're done with this.
Yes.
So we should have Mark Daniels Jr. on next Sunday. That obviously should be amazing.
Oh yeah,
just amazing.
I mean, just in the couple minutes that we kind of spoke with him at the tournament.
Oh, he's so cool,
dude.
And just the text on the phone, like he's just such. Man, I made this comment to you. He's extremely easy to like.
Oh yeah.
He's like a good guy. Like,
yeah.
There's good guys and then there's better guys. Like, he is at the top. Like, he is a nice, charismatic, easy guy to like.
Dude, I watched him take 50 pictures with 50 different kids, man, at that tournament. He'd jump out of the boat. He invited one kid in the boat.
In the boat with him, yes, while he was prepping.
Yes.
For his second day of tournament competition.
Mm-hmm.
He invited a kid in the boat with him on the bank. He was taking time with every single person.
Showing the kid what he was tying on, why he was tying it on.
And bro, that's when this whole Corona deal was getting started and people were starting to talk about it, and he wasn't shy about anything.
No.
And out of all those guys there, he was by far the most hands-on with the guys. Now, to be fair, we didn't have Jacob Wheeler and DC, his two running buddies. They may be the same way because they all run together. But I know out of that group that was lined up on that bank, MDJ was taking more time with the fans than anybody there.
That's right.
He's an easy guy to like. I like him a lot. I can't wait to talk to him next week.
I'm excited, man.
Now, go ahead. We were talking Jacob Wheeler last week.
So, and we kind of asked him, some of the crazy things he's seen on the water.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this, because I know there's a couple things that you and I have seen on the water that are going to kind of be in line with some of the craziest stuff you've seen on the water. But if you had to pick like a top 2 craziest things you've seen on the water.
Craziest things, like
now it can be fish catch, it can be tournament situation.
lightning hitting the water while I was running from a storm not too far from me was crazy. That was the craziest thing. I was fishing a little hit and giggle, tournament. I call it that's what we used to call them, scramble tournaments in golf, though, hit and giggle. Mm-hmm. But just a little podunk tournament like that, just some little jackpot tournament on Lake Fork, and we had been just striking out all morning, and there was a storm kind of coming up on us, but it was still a ways off, and we got out there on Dale Ridge, and this was back, the lake was low in like 2011 or 12 or something like that. Lake was real low. Like Dale Point was an island. Yeah. You know what I mean? The top part of it. And there were some bushes that had grown up, and the water kind of got up in them bushes. We were just throwing swim baits up by them bushes and catching. We finally started catching a couple, and we were catching them fast. Yeah. And my tournament partner didn't want to leave, and the storm was bearing down on us. And you could really start to see it.
Like when ears start popping and stuff like that?
Well, and, the rod started, when we would raise the rod started clicking. If you ever don't know, when you get like static electricity in there, enough of it with a big storm coming in, if you point your rod down, you won't hear nothing. But you point it up, you'll hear just a little tick, 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 just a little clicking sound.
You know what that means, fellas?
And you're about to get struck.
It means time to go.
Yeah, it means time to go. In the rod, I checked it a few times, and it did that. And he was wanting to keep fishing, and I was like, "No, bro." Finally, I kind of threw a temper tantrum and put my rod down the bottom of his boat. Sat down we were in his boat. Sat down in his passenger seat, and I refused to fish. I was ready to go, and we finally headed out of there. I talked him into it, and we started leaving, running to. We were running back towards the 515 bridge, just trying to get under something, or maybe if we could get to the marina or the ramp, we were going to do that. And we took off and got back out there in the boat lane, and we ran. We made that left turn into the main boat lane, and right in the middle of that west arm, lightning come down and hit the lake. And close enough to us where it probably was just my fear, but it felt. I swear I could faintly feel the heat from the lightning. Yeah. It was probably just a hot flash in my body because I was scared to death.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
I actually saw that water hit the lightning not too far, right there, not too far from us, and that was a pretty crazy, intimidating moment.
I can imagine.
It was a really bad deal. Another one, we're going to go fish catches, man. I've seen all kinds of crazy fish. There's no way I could do that in the top 2. I've seen all kinds of crazy fish catches. There's no doubt about that. But another crazy moment was another weather-related moment. I'm probably just thinking of this because I just talked about that. But we were way back off in a creek where it's like a 30-minute out, and we was summer, nothing in the forecast. And this storm just pops up out of nowhere. We'll come to find out after it was all said and done. Check that. This storm actually had like 70-mile-an-hour straight line winds. It was just one of them
One of them
pop
old
up
summer stuff, but
violent thunderstorms in the summertime. You know, it's late June or July. Maybe probably July, late July.
you get them pop up storms in July that'll just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and this one had really like extreme winds, and we were way back there where we had to idle out. So it took us 30 minutes to idle out. So by the time we idled out, the front line of that storm kind of caught up with us and passed us. So all that wind had got to blowing down the lake, and man, by the time we got down there to the big part of the lake, I let down to go up under one of the bridges. And when I was sitting down in my cockpit, there was no way I could reach the top of the waves. They were way over our heads, Sitting down, we're just, our boat's doing this, pitching and yawing, rolling all over these waves. So once I got under, I'd been kind of skipping across top of them, got under that bridge and went back to try to skip across top of them. Now we're in part of the bigger lake, and this wind's just rolling down this section of the lake. And I'm trying to run with these waves, and they're so big, like I can't skip them anymore. And I start sticking a couple, and our boat's just flooded. Like we've got water in the floor of our boat up to our ankles. And now I've got to slow down and just kind of dig it on the backside of these waves and just ride that wave. And I would have to ride up the wave. I'd have to accelerate and get up to the top of the wave, peek over, look where the buoy marker was to stay in the boat lane, and then ease back down and stay on the wave so I wouldn't crest over. Because if I crest over, the water's coming over the back. And I would, every once in a while, ease down too far, and that water behind me start coming in the boat. We got so much water in the back of the boat and around, and like so much water coming over the motor and stuff, it shut my outboard down. And now I got nothing. Now we're dead in the water, and I'm floating in these 70-mile-an-hour winds and these crazy waves that I've never seen anything like. I've never seen anything like this. And finally, or didn't take too long. Luckily, Yamaha shows really dependable motor. Man, I cranked it right back up, and it took me a minute or two, but cranked it a couple times. It cranked right back up, and I started easing into it again. Now I've got to turn sideways into these things. So now I'm driving, and the waves are like coming over the boat into my lap. And our boat is just full of water. Like we literally, the bilge pumps are going, but we've got water up above our ankles in the floor of the boat. And I've got a husband and a wife with me, and this wife, she's old country girl. She's toughing it out, but you get she's scared, bro. She's real scared. And she's thinking we're fixing to sink this boat, but it's a Skeeter, so we're not.
Yeah, you don't sink a Skeeter.
So we're not. It's a new Skeeter. We're not sinking it. And finally get the boat back to Oak Ridge Marina and get the, luckily he was good at, they fished all the time. He backed my trailer down, got the boat on the trailer, got it out, opened everything up, drained all the water out. Well, there was a guy in an aluminum boat that had just bought his boat the day before. This was his first time on the lake, first time on the water in this boat. He had tied it off in that first slip at Oak Ridge Marina. Well, them waves had come over the back of his boat so bad in that aluminum boat that his boat was sinking. Now, the nose was up because it was tied to the dock. But the back end of the boat, the whole back half of the boat was underwater. It was sunk. It was done, dude. They had to, I don't know how they got it out of there, but they did.
You got to tow them things out somehow. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it. Luckily, I ain't never been in that situation. But, that was the two, craziest, or I guess the two scariest moments. Yeah. It was intimidating.
I've got two that are similar to that. I was trying to outrun a storm on Palestine one time, and
it's a bad place to outrun anything because there ain't no good way to get anywhere on Palestine. You got to go the right way.
So I'm using the boat ramp by my house over in the Saline Bay area.
Yeah.
Okay, the big island back there before you get all the way to the back. Okay, well I'm coming.
Well, at least you can kind of run around how you want to back there.
Well, so it gets better. I'm coming from Ledbetter area.
Oh, okay.
And I had been fishing Berryville that day, and then I jumped over to Ledbetter, and I realized, the whole clicking deal happened with the rod. And I was
you got a lot of static. Yeah.
Gotta go. Yeah. Lay it down, strap everything down, and I'm running out of Ledbetter. And there's a little chute out of Ledbetter that you run, but once you get to the main lake, you got to cut it pretty hard left and stay straight.
Yeah, you don't just run across the middle of the lake wherever you want to out there.
Yeah, you just don't. It looks wide open, but it ain't.
No, it's not.
Anybody.
Yeah, it's not.
So you got to crank that hard left. Well, I went to crank that left, and I got met by about a 5-footer.
Right as you turned the corner?
Yes, and I speared that sucker real quick, and like you said, I had the bilge pump going the whole way back. Finally put the boat on the trailer. I had bilge pump going, plug, pulled, and we were letting go of water for 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
there was some water in there.
I'm pretty sure we've told the other one that you're going to tell on one of our podcasts before, but I never get tired of hearing this one. So please tell me the story about You know where I'm going.
The crack in the transom?
Yeah, yes, come on.
Okay.
Is that the other one you were going to tell?
That was the other one I was going to tell. So I was fishing a Monday night derby on Lake
With his
Palestine.
girlfriend at the time.
With my girlfriend at the time.
Miss Katie Lynn, bless her heart.
That's right. Sweet girl.
Wish nothing but the best for you.
That's right.
We miss you around here. I miss you. I don't know. I miss you. She's always sweet to me.
So there's a Monday night little tournament series on Palestine. It's from 6 to 9 every Monday, and it usually kicks off about March time. Mm-hmm. And we're out there, I think it was the end of April, early May one year. It wasn't cold. And my trim motor decided to go out.
Yeah.
Like as I'm idling out to go fish the tournament. No trim. So I had to get back there with the screwdriver and hit the manual release to where I put it about, it wasn't all the way digging, but it was a little bit higher than that. So it took me a minute to get on pad, but I could still run around and do whatever. Well, again.
3/4 of the way down, basically.
Yeah, that's where I was at. And so here comes a damn storm with these straight line winds. And I'm fishing a spot, and I get done fishing there. I go to run to another spot. I turn the corner, and again, spear like 2 immediately.
Yeah.
And my boat comes out of the water after the second one, because after you spear a wave, I don't know how the listeners, if they've experienced this before, but sometimes when you spear a wave and you don't get off it quick enough, because I didn't have a hot foot, sometimes you'll shoot back up.
The next one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you'll just it'll kind of catapult.
Come through that one and go up the next one.
Correct. And it'll get you, I mean, prop was 3 foot out of the water. Like,
yeah.
We were in the air, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, we come down hard, and I mean, it was just the most violent smacking sound on the water. You've heard it. Well, anyways, I don't think nothing of it. I'm looking around, everything's fine. Fish this one little area, the wind kind of dies down. I go to move and go to my next spot. Well, I'm digging, dude, and I'm pointing up at the sky like I'm freaking praying, brother. Like I cannot get that nose down.
Didn't you send Caitlin up to the front deck?
Sent her up to the front deck.
Trying to get the nose down.
Couldn't get it down, so I turned my bilge pump on. I'm like, okay, we did spear a couple waves. It's probably
it's got some extra weight.
Right. This thing is just pouring.
Dogging.
Pouring. And I could not get her out of the hole, and I'm thinking, I don't know what the hell's going on. So I go, just the way my brain works, I open the back compartment and I look, and cuz I got 3 batteries damn near floating. And I was like, oh no, this ain't good.
Bad news.
So
we got bad news, folks at home.
I idle it back to the ramp, and this was my 95 Cobra that I was in. Get back to the ramp.
About what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago, maybe 7?
Probably 7 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
And get back to the ramp, get it on the trailer, plug, bilge pump, everything. Water is just freaking pouring out of this thing.
Yeah.
And I look, and I'd cracked my transom when I shot up that wave and come back down.
Cracked transom, and the water was just pouring in the back.
Because what it was, it's right there where your bolts connect on the top end. There was about, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 inches gap.
Just
I'm surprised the motor stayed on, honestly.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty epic, bro. And then you had a fish in live well.
I did have a fishing line.
And you couldn't find him?
Couldn't find him. He was in the bottom of my hole. He come out the plug, the plug hole.
You tell that story a lot funnier the other time. You told me, you said, yeah, man, I got to look, and I had this 4-pounder in a live well, and I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere. Hell, I found him in my rod box.
I found him in the rod box.
The first time you told me that, about fell out.
Yeah. No, and I will tell you, there was another one. I did see a guy trying to make the run to the north end on Palestine one day, which if you don't know it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Just,
and I as sketchy as it gets.
Watched a dude in a Triton donate a Mercury 250 Pro XS. I mean, the whole thing ripped off the boat.
Oh, ripped the whole motor off the boat?
Motor gone.
I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah. Like,
what's funny is when we had that drought in 2011, people kept posting all these pictures of the north end of Palestine with like lower units stuck in stumps.
That's right. And props still stuck in stumps. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, Lake Palestine is the worst lake to run. Dude, out of all of our lakes that are dangerous in East Texas, Palestine is the worst.
Dude, if that thing ever gets, I think in 2011, I think it got almost 15 foot low.
I want to say it was 11 foot low, 11 or 12 foot low.
That's probably about right. Anyways, it was freaking low, as low as it's ever been since it was impounded.
All of our lakes around here were at their lowest. Right. Like Fork was at an all-time record low, yeah.
But I guarantee you, if you would have walked that entire lake and just picked up props and just all the metal,
could have had a metal detector, man.
Dude, you could have freaking made a killing.
Just on scrap.
Scrap metal.
Just scrap.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've seen it a million times on that lake, and I see people running through stuff on there all the time, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, I know it is sketchy, man. That's a dangerous lake to run. Really dangerous lake to run.
So, another thing, like, we talked to Mr. Wheeler, about, tournament memories
Yeah.
or like crazy fish catches.
Yeah.
What?
Like craziest tournament stories?
Yeah.
I'm going to let you lead this one off. Give me a little time to gather my thoughts here.
So the one that sticks out in my head.
I kind of told when I was fishing a tournament when that lightning struck. So.
One that kind of sticks out in my brain was.
And your crack Transom was a tournament story too.
Yeah, that sucked, man. I remember one night. This is one of the craziest tournament stories I have. Me and a friend of mine were fishing that Palestine Monday Nighter, and we caught almost 18 pounds on 3 and walked it. And the big bass pot in that tournament, if nobody catches a 7 in the field, it rolls over.
Yeah.
Well, this big bass pot and got up to like $2,000.
Yeah,
like
$2,400,
$2,400, something like that.
Yeah.
And so we had it was actually kind of slow, and we had a green light that we just rolled up on, and my partner that I was fishing with was throwing one of them big them 8.0 strike kings, kind of when they first came out. Well, he jacks a 9-pounder like immediately, and I was like, oh my god. So I flip a 10-inch old monster June bug into the same hole, and I'm just cruising it around the outside of the light, and I catch like a 6. And I was like, bro,
Ding,
did
we win.
Did we just win? And he was like, oh my god. So we still probably got like an hour left of fishing. And I'm like, dude, we need to go sit at the ramp and act like this fish is in ICU and make sure she does not die. And anyways, we're flipping the marina docks on the way in, and we catch another 2-pounder or something like that. I'm like, yeah, here we go. So that's kind of one of the craziest tournament stories I have, because it's a lot of weight on 3 fish.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had anything just really crazy happen to me during tournaments. Little stuff, little boat malfunctions, that kind of stuff always happens on tournament day, it seems like. But nothing too out of the ordinary. Me and Zach won a tournament one time on 2 fish. I feel like we've told this story before.
On the Holbrook?
Yeah, we won a little jackpot tournament. We had 2 fish, and we won the tournament with 2 fish. A 5-fish stringer tournament with 2 fish.
Yeah, that's
we had 2 fish for like 14 pounds.
That's doing it.
And what was funny is I told Zach the night before, or maybe that morning, I can't remember. So I think it was the night before. I think we stayed together that night before we went to fish that tournament. I think he stayed at my house. But I told him going in that tournament, I said, dude, all we're going to do, because it was a wintertime deal. I said, all we're going to do is throw a jig around deep structure, deep timber all day. We're not doing anything else. I said that the deal was we had really, really, really terrible weather conditions, and I didn't feel like anybody was going to really catch hardly any fish. And so I said, listen, if nobody's going to get very many bites, at least if we get a bite,
it's going to be
quality. Let's make sure it counts. Yeah. And so, as crazy as it sounds, did I plan on winning a tournament with 2 fish? I didn't plan to win a tournament with only 2 bites. But I kind of planned on giving myself a chance to win with only a couple bites or a few bites or however many we were getting. I really thought we'd get 4 or 5 bites throughout the day. I thought, for sure 3 or 4. We ended up only getting 2, and we got the first one like right away. I pulled up first fish real quick, and then later in the day, Zach caught that other big one, and we won big bass that tournament, of course, and the tournament with 2 fish. And it was
pretty awesome.
Funny part about it was, sure enough, the deal was it was like in the 40s for a high. It was a cold front had blown through the night before. It was still cloudy. It was super windy. The wind was blowing like 30 mile an hour sustained out of the northwest. It was just freezing. Brutally cold day. And only one team caught a limit, and it was Zach's son. Dylan was fishing with a buddy of his.
Imagine that.
Dylan caught 5 fish for 10 pounds, 5, squeaker keepers, which was better than everybody else did that day.
Right, exactly.
Nobody else even caught more than a couple fish, and they were little ones. And me and Zach, what's funny is everybody weighed in. Dylan had just weighed in. It's like, Dad, we won. He comes up and goes, hey, what'd y'all catch? I said, oh, man, we only got 2. He goes, dude, we just won. I said, what'd y'all have? He's like, 5 for 10 pounds. I'm like, dang, dude, that's pretty good. Y'all caught a limit today? He's like, yeah. He goes, man, nobody else even caught a limit. They were all excited. I said, well, we got 2 fish, but we're going to go ahead and weigh them in. We probably got big bass, at least for sure. And I knew we had them beat,
Yeah.
But I was trying to let it play out. And I told him we had 2 fish, and Zach reaches in there and grabs that big one first. And Dylan just walked away screaming and donked because he's like, what the hell? And Zach pulls out, I don't know what it was. I think it was like a 7 or 8 pounder or whatever it was, that biggest one. And he pulls that one out, and he reaches in there and grabs the other one, and Dylan he just walks off. He didn't say nothing to
Just
anybody.
the moment of defeat, you're like, oh my gosh.
We just beat him with two fish. So that was a good day, man. We were froze. The funny part was we probably could have got them 3 or 4 bites, but me and Zach caught that one fish real early. Then a couple hours later, caught his fish. He caught his fish, which ended up winning big bass. And then by that time, it was getting close to lunchtime, and we were freezing, dude. It was so brutally cold that day. We had some sandwiches, some old Alicia Lawson sandwiches.
I know them well.
And which are great, by the way, and are huge. And we kind of eased up beside this dock to get out of the wind. And me and Zach looked at each other like, dude, the truck's right over there. We're right by the ramp. Let's go sit in the truck and turn the heater on.
Heard that.
So we go sit in the truck, turn the heater on. 2 hours later, we finally get out of the truck. We didn't even fish for a quarter of the fishing day, a third of the fishing day. We didn't even fish. We might have could have got another bite or two.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Turns out it was the right decision because we stayed warmer than everybody and we won all the money.
Hey, come on with it.
So that was a good day, man.
One of the other crazy things that I've actually seen on the water, and this isn't a tournament story, but I don't remember who you were fishing with. It's been several years ago. The double rod breaks.
Oh yeah, that was really crazy. I don't know that that's ever been done before or since. That's something we had. This was within literally the first month of me doing multiple videos every week. The first month of me doing video content every single week was November of
2016.
16.
Yeah, I think it's right.
I think it was 16.
That's about right.
And that's when this happened at the end. It happened around Thanksgiving because One Rod, One Reel and Lunkers TV and one of Lunker's buddies all came fishing. And Mike fished with me and Lunkers fished with his buddy, and they kind of followed me around or whatever. And we were fishing on Lake Monticello. And that day,
back in the pads,
I was going back there, and we were going back there and fishing around or whatever. Man, I just didn't have. I had some bigger rods for swim baits, but they have fluorocarbon on them. But there was so much hyacinth and pad stems and half dead pads, and I just really felt like I needed braid. And I had a smaller rod with braid on it that I used to frog with. I want to say it was like a 7.2 heavy, but it wasn't like a real super heavy. It was a frog rod. One's got a little tip. Yeah. And so that's what I had rigged up, and I tied this big bait on there. I mean, it was a pretty stout rod. Obviously, it's a rod I put 65-pound braid on, fish a frog on.
right?
But I tied this frog on there. This swim bait on there just because I wanted braid on my swim bait. I thought, you know what, man, hell with it. It's braid. I'll be able to set the hook. Don't care how short it is. Yeah, it'll come through the junk better, like whatever. And so these fish started kind of waking up and chasing these big shad. And at that time, my experience on Monticello was pretty limited. I'd probably only been on Monticello 3 or 4 times before that.
Right.
Maybe 5. I don't know. And this was kind of my awakening to Lake Monticello was this day. And we'd been punching grass and catching some fish pretty good, punching that hyacinth, which hyacinth, we were doing with that little rod braid. It's pretty easy to get them out of hyacinth. But anyway, I tied that on. Seeing these fish kind of outside the mat, just chasing shit. Well, at first I tied it on there, but I tied it with a fluorocarbon leader because the water was pretty clean. I didn't want braid tied directly to a swim bait that they fall for a long time, blah, 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 whatever. So I tied a fluorocarbon leader on there. 20-pound fluorocarbon. Throw it up there, first cast. First cast, I throw it up there on the edge of that hyacinth mat, kind of ease it off that hyacinth mat, and it starts swimming back towards me. Boom! Take my time, set the hook, boom! Snaps my fluorocarbon. Whoa. I know how to tie a knot, dog. I know how to tie a knot, and that thing just broke that 20-pound fluorocarbon like it really wasn't a big deal. Now, it probably had me around a bunch of pad stems or whatever. That can happen.
Nonetheless.
But I was still like, that's pretty crazy. So now I said, okay, screw the leader. We're going straight braid. And this wasn't just, it's a big swim bait bite. So it wasn't just like, you didn't get bite every 5 minutes.
Right.
So I'm fishing around. We pick the punch rod back up, catch a couple punching. Then I see some fish waking off in the distance across this pad flat. Well, I ease over there getting casting distance, and you can see in the video I'm kind of motoring towards them. As soon as I get in an area where I've seen them kind of waking up on these shad, I make a bomb cast up there. I start reeling in, and I'm kind of going over these pads, and my swim bait's a weightless convict, and it's staying, this right on the surface.
Right.
You actually see this huge explosion on my swim bait. Like just the biggest explosion you've ever seen on my swim bait. And I kind of pause and wait and give it some time. And I lean into it. It snaps my rod right in half. So now I've broken 20-pound fluorocarbon and I've broken a rod on 2 hook sets, which is crazy. That's crazy. But wait, folks, there's more. Because I reeled my bait in there with my broken rod. I'm like, dude, what happened? So what had happened was I'd made that long bomb cast and I'd kind of missed where they'd been waking a little bit. And Mike, one rod, one reel, said, oh, I got him. And he took a jig and flung a jig out there and he hit it on the spot.
Yeah.
But then I got that fish to chase my swim bait and blow up on it. Set the hook and break. This whole time his jig's sitting out there right where those fish have been waking. And we bring it in and we're looking at the swim bait. We're looking at my broken rod like, dude, what happened? We're just kind of both in like shock and awe of what has just occurred. Did I just snap that rod? Because I had a lot of line out. Like, that had to be some serious torque to break that rod. It was crazy. And Mike's sitting there and he's just kind of holding his rod and looking at mine. His rod goes, boom. He goes, oh, I got a bite. He reels down, checks it up, and does the Mike yell, because Mike yells every time he says hook. Oh, good, it's a big one. Whap, snaps his rod.
And like, it's not like these rods snapped on the top half.
No, and his had fluorocarbon on it, but his was like a 7.4 heavy. Like, it was a flipping stick.
Right.
And these fish were so big and strong and they were in such heavy cover, they were just putting so much torque. We broke back-to-back rod breaks on camera.
In the same cast.
Live action, right next to each other, like 2 fish that giant biting back-to-back to break those rods. Like, I've never seen back-to-back rods broken like that before or since. To my knowledge, I'm the only one that's ever documented that. It was an insane moment, and the best part about it is, I don't think it was quite as good because we had a cold front that blew through, like a real hard cold front. And I went back with Andrew Grills, like 3 days later. I went back with Andrew Grills, and Andrew's the best swim baiter, especially at that time. Man, there's a lot of other guys that have picked up that swim bait and done a lot with it now, but at that time, Andrew was the best big swim bait thrower in this area.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
And he was a good friend of mine. I called him and said, hey man, I found this swim bait bite and we need to go. And we did. We went on Thanksgiving Day because my family was out of town. He's from out of state. He couldn't go home. Neither one of us could leave because of work. All our families were out of town. So we go on Thanksgiving Day. And the deal was, I don't think the bite was as good because it was extremely post-frontal, not very much wind, really calm, slick calm. But we still went out there, and I went to it was slow that morning, and I went to kind of punching grass after we had gotten a couple bites early, but nothing special. I say nothing, but we caught like some 4-pounders on the swim bait early. But I just kind of went to punching, and I started like whipping on him punching. Enough to where he even put the swim bait down, which is saying a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's saying a lot. So he puts the swim bait down, and then eventually he picks the swim bait back up, and the first fish he catches on it is like an 8-pounder.
I remember that.
But the deal was we came back, and I told him about the situation. We got our big 8-foot swim bait rods, our 710, our big heavy. Like we were both using Dobbins at the time. We had our 795s. We put 65-pound braid on our 795s and tied 10-aught on our beast hooks. Like, we geared up for the battle, Jack. And we went back and whipped on them. I don't know how many fish we caught over 5 or 6 pounds that day, but it was all of them.
Yep.
All of them that were swimming in that 10-acre, 20-acre flat we were fishing, every one of them swimming in there got caught that day.
Hell, that day that you, I, and Heath Taylor had out there was a good one too.
That was, I think that video where we whooped them on the swim bait, that was the first video I made where you could say like, of course, like I said, that was the first month I started making videos. Right. But that was the first video, day on the water type video where you could say like, oh, we
wrecked them.
Stroked them.
Yeah.
I mean, like that video got a lot of people talking. In fact, that video, and thank you to Andrew for helping me with that video, because that video did a lot. If I think about it, that video really did a lot for me in my career. It got a lot of views. And it kind of introduced me to a lot of people.
That's right.
It let people get to know me a little bit and kind of was a little bit of a hello world moment for me as far as the Lake Fork and the Northeast Texas fishing community goes, just giving me some publicity because there were so many views on that video. It was a good moment. 2 broken rods, crazy. Like, we've had some crazy stuff happen on camera.
The 2 big ones on a glide bait.
That was that was before this started though. You were there for that. Yeah. You were the only reason you knew about it. You were in the boat. Yeah, we caught a 7 and a 4 on 1 cast on 1 glide bait. Right at the end of the day, Chris was with me. Chris netted the fish, and the 7-pounder fell off in the net right as he put it under him. But we caught. Yeah, I threw out there in a real twitch. Boom, 7-pounder hits it, loads up. I'm reeling that 7-pounder, and I'm pointing my rod down. I'm horsing to the boat, doing all the stuff you do with a swim bait. get his mouth full of water, and he's kind of coming up, wallering his head, and a 4-pounder comes out of the water. Remember that? Came out of the water, hits him in the face, trying to steal this glide bait from him, catches the other treble hook, hooks himself, and I just keep reeling. And now I got both of them.
That was crazy.
It's craziness, but
That was so the very next weekend was whenever I met you at Lake Fork Marina.
Yeah.
And I threw a GoPro in your lap and I said, dude,
Yeah,
you have got to start filming this stuff.
This guy's the only reason we record any of the content. The only reason I started recording YouTube content in the beginning, and that was a full year before I actually started making videos every week.
Correct.
It took me a full year to actually be convinced that I need to be recording it all.
Right.
But this guy saw that go down, that glide bait bite that went crazy a year earlier on Lake Fork. Mm-hmm. And the next weekend he comes out and he hands me an old original GoPro Hero Plus.
That's right.
It was like a first model. Mm-hmm. He hands it to me and goes, here, dude, you've got to start filming this.
That's right.
And I made a couple little like how-to videos or a little bit of highlight reel videos here and there, like one
did the Louisiana trip video.
One video every 2 or 3 months, like nothing to get any attention. And then finally, as I kind of educated myself on how YouTube and social media was working later in 2016, because that was November of 2015 when you brought me that camera. Mm-hmm. Later, November 2016, I started making videos every week. And then the swim bait deal on Monticello happened, and then it was just kind of off from there. Then we filmed a really good jig video, and then we had Mark Stevenson on the channel, and we started having other games. Me and Zach Hughes in March filmed the awesome sight fishing video that got like 30,000 views or whatever it was. And it was just kind of off and running from there, man. So in a lot of ways, I owe my whole guiding career to you.
Isn't it funny to look back, though, and be like, it all started with a
stupid double catch on a glide bait. A
it?
Stupid lucky 4-pounder that jumped out of the water. Because we had gone, like the week before, we'd gone there and whacked them on a glide bait.
That's right.
But when it was like so crazy, I caught 2 at a time on the last cast of the day, you were like, dude, you got to start filming.
You got to start.
And that's literally, that fish catch is probably the only reason that I'm sitting here today as a full-time guide and being able to do what I love the way I am. That and, of course, the loyalty and viewership and the help that, you know, we're so appreciative of from all of you guys that are out there watching and listening.
Yep. That was it's crazy to look back and think it was that long ago.
Yeah, that was 2015, November of 2015, when we had that glide bait bite going right around the end of the month, right around Thanksgiving.
Dude, we punked them.
Yeah.
Especially in that area. And it's not an area, like, what was weird about that?
Well, it was just good that year because all that grass.
Right.
There was so much good grass.
Because you go fish that area right now, and it's going to be super stained majority of the year.
And it does still hold fish. It's got some dynamic structure features that'll hold some fish in that little corner. But the deal was that year in the fall, it was just a good corner for them to push shad up into in the evening time. And it had all that healthy grass, so it was holding so much life. And it hasn't been the same since then. It's been good, but not nearly. I mean, that was all time stuff. Like, you'd pull up in there the last hour of daylight, and it was like 5-pounder, 7-pounder, 6-pounder, 8-pounder, 5-pounder, 4-pounder, 3. Like, and it, like, you just threw that glide bait up there, reeled it 5 or 6 times, and twisted it. It was like, oh God! I mean, it was the best glide bait bite I've ever had for sure.
I mean, that's crazy.
Stupid.
I had one.
Remember the first one I caught?
Yes.
When I was monkeying with the bait right beside it. So when we first found this bite, I was just getting into glide baits. Like, I didn't know anything. Remember, guys, this
because we were throwing the original flow glider
4.5 years ago, man. This was almost 5 years ago. It's 2015, November 2015, and I really was just getting into glide baits, and I was really trying to explore with them and figure out and learn how to work them. And I literally had a bait beside the boat, and I started twitching it and just seeing what it did when I twitched it. I was just like, and it was, I don't know, 8 or 10 feet from the boat where I could see it just under the surface. And twitch, and just messing with it back and forth. And all of a sudden, this like short, fat 6-pounder comes up from underneath and just swallows the bait. And I never even turned the reel in. I just held on for dear life. I was like, oh God, Chris, get the net. And Chris goes down there to reach for the net, and he's down on the bottom boat, and this fish makes a hard run to the right and starts bringing itself up to the surface. And so I just kind of said, oh, hell with it. And just as she was coming up, I just pulled, which her running to the back corner of the boat to my right, made it to where when I pulled up, it pulled her right back towards the middle of the boat, and you were down there trying to get a net, and that fish literally come flying in the boat from the back corner and hit you right where Zach hit me.
That's right.
Right in the between the groin area.
Yep.
That big old fat 6-pounder tail
right
like the fire. Like, you hit the deck after that.
I know.
Like, you went down, Frazier. That sucker caught you right on the underneath side with that big old fat tail. Yeah, that was the first glide bait catch. The fish ate it beside the boat, and then I threw it at Chris's junk.
That was the same year that we first started fishing the Movement 80X too, and freaking whipped them.
Was it that day when I had that first bite? Was it the very next cast, or was it within the very next 2 or 3 casts? You caught like a 7-pounder or something.
Yeah,
One of us
something big, yeah.
caught like a big 7-pounder, and then we caught another one after that.
Do you remember the 5-pounder that we caught that was like, I don't remember who caught it. I think it was you, but it was like 17 and a half inches long. You remember that one?
Yeah.
It's back to its belly was like
Yeah, it was
that
as
deep.
tall as it was long. These fish were eating so many gizzards.
Oh,
Chad.
my
Like, they were
gosh.
just so fat. Man, Lake Fork's an awesome place, dude. We've kind of gone off on story time and rambled. I hope you guys drop us a comment. If you're still here, drop us a comment. Let us know if you enjoyed this deal, because this was a little bit. We went off on a little personal greatest hits roll right there, I guess you might say.
It's good times, man.
We've had some.
It's good to
times
revisit
on it.
that.
It is always good. We've told that story a few times, I think, but it's a good one, and it's a really kind of a, you look back and it's like, dude, what we're doing, it's like it's meant to be, man, because
Yep.
it just all worked out. Like, I never planned on any of this.
Yeah.
Like, I never had any designs or plans on being a fishing guide. I never any design or plans on having a YouTube channel. I never planned any of this stuff. And it's all just happened. But the deal is, we're very passionate about it. I love what I do. We love this sport. And, man, I work. I can proudly hold my head up and say I work as hard as anybody's ever worked in this lake. In the Lake Fork guide community, I work as hard or harder than anybody ever has.
That's right.
But that's because I love it.
That's right.
I just love it. So
Does it really work when you're doing what you
yeah, I
love?
don't mind putting the work in, and I'm really passionate about trying to help people catch fish, whether they're paying me for a guide trip or not. Man, I want to help everybody catch more and bigger fish.
That's it.
And that's kind of what I've accepted and taken on the challenge of that being my life's purpose, is to help as much as I can. And it's just crazy to think that it all started with just a couple little weird fish catches, and now here we are 5 years later, 4.5 years later, here we are. And that was when I'd been guiding for about I think I started, was it
You started in 14 doing the part-time deal.
was it 14 or 15 when I started?
No, it's the beginning of 15.
It was the spring of 14 or 15. I can't remember which one when I started doing it part-time. And I was still doing it part-time until 16. The end of 16, I was still doing it part-time. And then it was halfway through the spring of 17 when I went full-time.
That's right. That's what it was. Because you did it part-time
It
for
was,
quite a
yeah,
while.
it was early 17 when I went full-time.
That's right.
Because I did it part-time. Well, I say part-time. Hell, I was fishing almost as much as I fish now.
Allegedly.
But don't tell anybody at the beer company.
Allegedly.
Julian and Larry, don't be listening to this part of the podcast.
I joke. I kid.
I mean, I got some sets. You know what I'm saying?
Heard that.
Like I sold some beer,
We
too.
still grew some share. Come on.
I hit numbers, man. I hit
Heard
numbers.
that.
Yeah, the company was growing when I was there, so I don't want to hear any complaints.
Hitting numbers and catching lunkers, baby. Let's go.
That's awesome, dude. Man, I've had fun tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
It's been a good podcast. I can't wait. I mean, I'm glad ZW came on as a guest. I love talking to him, but I can't wait for Mark Daniels next week. Mathiolate Daniels Jr. I can't wait to talk to him.
Golly. Well, thank y'all for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You want to do that thing I do?
Hey, Chris, do that thing you do.
Everybody was kung flu fighting.
Oh, I never know where it's going to go with you.